Bharat Badal is about 2 years old as a concept. I thank Infra for giving me an opportunity to share this. Those of you in Cloud Connect in Bangalore, I touched upon this topic. This time the chairman said I need to talk about it at length and not just as a strategic enabler. So, how can we transform India? Okay, so that is the biggest challenge even today's government is facing, whether it is Aadhaar card, whether it is the rural employment guarantee scheme, etc. Okay, so I have a different pitch to that which I'll share with you today. Okay, first of all, cloud is a disruptive technology, and most people who do traditional technology, at least in the initial years, thought I was mad because I've been doing this for about 3 years, cloud evangelizing. But I think slowly some of them have started using cloud simply because of the benefits it gives. Okay? And like all disruptive innovations, the cloud has started at the bottom of the pyramid. The people who started and made the cloud happen are people who knew no technology, who had access to internet and who used stuff like Facebook, Twitter, which today bring down governments and create sort of. But basically it was the public who started using the cloud. The whole cloud was validated by the public and not by the enterprise, not by the CIO. You need to understand that perspective. Okay? Today also, most of the applications on the cloud is for an audience which are not for large corporates, but it's for simple users like you and me to upload our videos, our movies, or whatever else you want to do. Okay? The past 2-3 years, the cloud is transforming into the corporate, and then a lot of other things are happening. But traditionally, the cloud was built by a large public base who didn't care about security, who didn't care about anything as long as they had free computing. Okay? And of course, the academicians and the universities. The late Dr. C.K. Prahalad talked about the bottom of the pyramid. Okay? So what is this bottom of the pyramid? The bottom of the pyramid in India is the poorest of the poor. Out of 1.2 billion in India, 70% are rural. Okay? In that 70%, almost 90% just have a square meal or just less than that. They are poor. So how do you make a difference to them? And that is Prahalad's bottom of the pyramid theory. Okay? So when you look at the pyramid, you look at T5, which is 550 billion. And you look at T4, 200 million, that is 750 million. You and I may be in the T2 or T1. Some of you may be even in T1. I primarily think I'm in T3. But T1, T2, T3, urban, taken care of, Maruti cars, all that stuff. What about 2, 4 and T5? I think that is the whole thing, which is the challenge which is coming up. Unfortunately, this, again the pyramid of the population, the bottom pyramid today is less than 30 years. Okay, and what future are we going to live for them is a big question as a country. Okay? So, 500 million in India are bottom of the pyramid, and that's exactly what I talk about. And you need new business models, you need innovative ways of reaching out to them and making them economically productive. Okay? There were a lot of technology innovations earlier, not on the cloud, but otherwise. One was the PCO, STD, ISD, started by Sam Pintura some 20 years back. Then Kushiaki Doli's Hindustan Lever's thing of outreach to the darkest villages in India, where you have mud roads to sell their products. This is a business thing. And they have touched 25 million rural customers. The chairman of Hindustan Lever, which is one of the largest FMCG companies in India, says the next growth engine of India will be rural India and not urban India. Okay? Then there's another one for organic milk production, where these 4 engineers from Wipro use the cloud to measure the milk content, lactates, whatever else is required in terms of animal husbandry to make sure they get the maximum yield of organic milk. Okay? Then there is Janalakshmi, which is a microfinance for poor women, which is more of an urban phenomenon, but we need more Janalakshmis for the poor in the rural areas. Okay? The technologies, some of them have been big winners, like Nlog, where you have internet kiosks in villages. Then TVS started a Kirana shop, which was basically a rental model of a PC and network, UPS, and they could get significant improvements in terms of the profits of the storekeeper, because suddenly now he had a software to take care of his inventory, etc. And of course, the biggest game changer which is happening today in India is mobile telephony, irrespective of 2G, 3G. Mobile telephony has changed the way we live. Even I carry 2 mobiles. Okay? Now the mindset has to change. Okay? The government has to stop, or we as citizens who pay taxes should stop thinking poor as a problem. Poor is not a problem. The conventional thinking is poor is a problem, drag on the economy, and they are wards of the state, they are orphans, so we need to keep subsidizing them with free gas, free kerosene, free whatever else. Old technologies which work in the West don't work in India. We need to re-engineer them or innovate new technologies. And finally, resource constraints, there's not enough money going around. Prahalad's solution to this was, poor was an opportunity. The water pyramid of 15 or half a billion Indians are a huge opportunity in terms of the market. Okay? So global market, of course, that is 4.5 billion of poor people. So when you look at this as a half full glass, suddenly on the right hand side, suddenly you say, yes, this is the rural power which can make a difference to this country. If we can empower that half a billion people of rural power and economic activity, I don't think Manmohan Singh has to worry about the GDP of the country. It will be already included, it's within 10%. Okay. How do you empower these people who are not contributing to the GDP part? One of the enablers and today's presentation is Bharat Badal, which is the India Plan. Finally, our father of the nation says poverty is the worst form of violence, and I'm sure any of us who have been poor would agree with it. Okay? So there is a change of mindset which this diagram clearly says. Don't look at the poor of India as a problem, look at the poor as a potential market, potential opportunity, and take the country forward. Okay? There are tons of innovation here in the forums, other forums of the poor, somebody making a washing machine, a peddling washing machine, and there's the case of another gentleman who made a cycle board to see his wife somewhere in Lucknow. So you can look up those innovations. And these are all made by poor people, not by many of us who are in the corporates. Okay? So one of the most important things is to inform the rural people and the power of information. This was from a Twitter conference we had in Sanpura 2 weeks back, where he says, so I'm just quoting in here, delivering information to the end user brings openness in terms of governance, government policies, whatever else we are doing, accessibility, transparency, accountability, networking, and decentralization. That means the power really goes to the people, which is what democracy is all about. Okay? So, who is this Bharat Badal? Who is this Bharat we are looking at? Out of a population of 1.2 billion, rural is 68% of the population, which is 0.83 billion. Okay? Urban is 0.3. Okay? And what are the rural guys doing? As the bottom figure shows, they come to urban cities. In Mumbai, we call them slums, and they all mushroom and keep growing one story after 5 years, second, and then third. Why they have to come here? If you had enough livelihood, they would not come here. Okay? And I think this is what is the big problem. But the census of 2011 threw out some very nice numbers. People had more mobile phones than TV. Okay, this is very interesting. And so now this is an opportunity because there are mobile phones with 52%, and the price point of the mobile phone as an endpoint device has come less than 5,000 rupees. So it's affordable. Even the government can give it away free or as part of the scheme. Okay? And so cloud computing, mobility, wireless, all will be the game changer. And the idea is to leverage technology to leapfrog this nation. Okay? And that is where Bharat Badal will help. The mobile will harness the power of the cloud and India. That means right across India. Of course, skeptics will say, where is the internet? So I have the answer for that in the next slide. Okay? So Mahatma Gandhi says the real India lives in its villages, and I think we have to go back to our roots and respect the father of the nation and get back where we can make the difference to this country. Okay? So this is the economic rhetoric of it. I'm not a politician, but really I'm a citizen of this country. Okay? So what are the opportunities? Economically, agriculture and animal husbandry, we can improve productivity, we can educate, we can give data, including meteorology, whatever else the farmer needs. Okay, animal husbandry we can also educate. Cottage industries can actually sell their wares. Some of them are doing it using the internet today. I mean there are enough cases catalog where artisans are putting up their ware on the internet and people elsewhere in the world are buying it. Okay? Jobs in landless laborers can get into economic activity other than digging ditches and drainage. Okay? And we can reduce the rural indebtedness and suicides because of that by giving them alternate livelihood. Okay? Social, big issue is population and family planning. Continues to be a challenge in rural areas. Healthcare and nutrition and women, 10 rapes in Haryana, all these issues can be changed by knowledge and education, and we can uplift the general attitude of the country by using technology as the delivery. Housing and sanitation is a big challenge. Sanitation is the biggest challenge. Today's Economic Times center page talks about improving the GDP by building toilets. Please read that if you have the time. We can improve the GDP by building toilets because of the simple fact that 60% of our children suffer from tapeworm or ringworms. We can fix it by having good sanitized toilets. Okay? So these are small things, and the government estimates a toilet costs about 10,000. The funny thing is, Indians own more mobiles than toilets there. Okay. And the last one is education, which is e-education, e-learning, all that stuff, whatever they want to do, they'll have equal access as anybody else has got. Okay. So what can you deliver on this rural India computing service? What can you deliver? The first, of course, is the e-government service, my land record, my rights from the government, my goals from the government, or whatever else is the government citizen interface. The second, I think, which is the more important, is information services like agricultural practice, weather forecast, plus more. You build a knowledge-driven country, knowledge-driven citizen. Okay? Transactional services like e-commerce and email can also be done, e-banking can be done, rural banking can be done. There are small baby steps being in this. NABARD has built a cloud platform for rural banking, and this has been basically driven by TCS and Wipro. So these clouds initiatives are already happening, but they are very segmented. They could all come in a common cloud and cut down the cost. And finally, community services, healthcare and education. Healthcare is one of the primary issues where the rural population needs tons of education, and we don't spend enough there. We can again make a change. We only spend 5.2% of we spend only 5.2% of our GDP, okay, as compared to 7 to 10%. World average of 3.96 hospitals per thousand. India we just have 0.7. We are not going to build. It's going to take time to build hospitals. It's going to take time to populate them with nurses, doctors. So the better way of maybe delivering it is through telemedicine and remote medicine. A lot of states in India this is already happening. One particular gentleman who runs Narayana Hridayalaya, they are doing a lot of work in this, they are based in Bangalore. But right across southern India, there are a lot of good work being done in telemedicine. Okay? And trained medical person is also a huge shortage. So how do you overcome this and get a healthy nation? Okay? So these are the same challenges which we have. Okay? So one of the solutions which really can happen quickly, which is telemedicine, remote patient monitoring. I don't think about that 1.2 billion, I think 1 billion, I don't think even patient records exist in this country. So I think we need to make that change. Okay? And I think the government owes to the citizen to keep them healthy. Alerting systems, multi-channel medical consultation. So all these things are happening in a very fragmented way simply because there is no infrastructure on which this can all run. Okay? So I will go ahead again. So the solution for healthcare plus much more is the Bharat Padham. Bharat Padham is nothing but a cloud built by the government for the citizens. So the infrastructure, everything is there. The question is only to make this cloud fabric and open. I do some consulting for government earlier, and every project has got 4 data centers, 5 data centers. Then the project takes 2 years. Suppose a data center was available, which is the cloud. All they need to innovate is the application, they can start running. Today, Google can give you in 16 Indian languages access. I'm sure we can do that at Bharat Padham. So every citizen can actually interact on the language of his choice. He doesn't have to be English literate. Today, not being English literate, unfortunately, has made an Indian citizen illiterate. Now that will have to change. Okay? So how do you, so the Bharat Padham will help you to leapfrog with technology. So you don't go through a learning curve like America. See, even US has used cloud extensively. They have knocked off 3 billion from their government spending using cloud. All that is documented, you can look into it. Unfortunately, we have not invested anything. So I think for 1 billion, we can do much more. Okay, for 1.2 billion people. Okay. So this technology evolution cycle tops. Capacity to observe latest technology we have. We are IT powerhouse ourselves. Economic development is based on technology infrastructure. So the technology infrastructure given by Bharat Padham will drive the economic of the country. Okay. And you will have common standards of deployment of all government or private initiatives of the Bharat Padham. Okay. Now where is the network for this? This is the main game changer. The government has already invested on a network up to date. They have invested 20,000 crores on broadband. So every panchayat, 250,000 gram panchayats are already internet connected. A work in progress. By 2014, all of them will be on broadband. Okay? So that means accessibility is not an issue. Okay? So even a PC, a netbook, or even a wireless router there, which will connect to a mobile device is good enough. So this is the infrastructure fabric which is already in the country built by the government of India. Please believe the government does work for you. Okay, it takes time. Okay, and what they have figured out is a 10% increase in broadband penetration has a straight economic increase in 1.28%. So So if pan-India you have 100%, you can do the maths yourself. Our GDP is all going to go through the roof and we are going to be a wonderful country. Okay? But today the broadband access is to you and me, which is just 1% of India. Okay? That is real broadband. I'm not talking about mobile, slow bandwidth, dial-up lines. So the question is, this accessibility will happen at every village level, which means you and I don't have to work in Mumbai and suffer the traffic. We can move on to a quieter place and work there. Okay? And this is the big game changer. So, and this is the fabric on which Bharat Badal will ride. Today that Bharat Badal, the India cloud doesn't exist. The network exists, the vision exists, the applications exist, government projects can all come there. Okay? What will Bharat Badal do? Whether you're sitting in a village or you're sitting in the urban, it will give the same equal opportunity for all citizens. So, being in an urban environment will not be an advantage. Okay? So every citizen can go and do what he wants there because the infrastructure is provided. This is just like how DoT built the telephone network in this country over 20-30 years. How they laid fiber in this country for connectivity. For those of us who are grey-haired like me, we have been through those cycles. Of course, in a little bit of privatization later, but most of the infrastructure still was government initiative. Okay? It will galvanize the 1 billion Indians by giving them an opportunity for learning and information, all delivered from the cloud. Okay? So what all this will enable? First is information dissemination. You become a knowledge economy. The country becomes a knowledge economy. Citizen government interface. You don't have to walk 20 miles to find out whether your land patta is in your name or your granduncle's name or your neighbor's name. You go online and do it very fast. These small things are happening in certain states in India already. Okay? So citizen government interface becomes very easy. E-commerce, huge platform for e-commerce. Here you could even have digital money. Kenya has already done that. Somaliland has done that. They have no cash anymore. They have no more money. They only have a digital wallet. Unfortunately, the guy who patented this is Sam Pitroda, but for some reason it never took off in India. Which means your 70% of the economy, which is cash driven and non-tax paying, can now become digital and can be taxed. Okay? Because it's all captured digitally. It's a huge game changer, digital money, which can again be driven by the government on an infrastructure like this. And banking will change. Okay? Telemedicine I talked about. Agricultural support, commodity prices, whatever else they need, whether, which fertilizer to use, which crop pattern, what works for them. Big data. Okay. One of the big things Bharat Badal will do is collect a lot of data. Have any of you wondered what will Nandan do with the Aadhaar data? Now Nandan is going to have Aadhaar data of 1.2 billion people. I mean, for any marketing guy, that is a gold mine. Suddenly now he is sitting on big data. But suddenly, how do you connect all these big data across the government projects, and suddenly now our good Prime Minister has got executive information system, right? And then he sees where that last rupee is going on the finance minister. So these are things which can happen if you have this sort of infrastructure. And finally, I talked about electronic money and the mobile wallet, where the rural guys doesn't have any cash. He just has a mobile and all the money is transacted. Okay. So what are the next steps? The first step in my mind is float and entity. Just like Bharat Broadband, float entity Bharat Badal Nigam Limited, or name it what you want, but have a government entity with the Department of Information Technology, NABARD, Ministry of Rural, whoever is concerned with the 70 or 80% of India which is a rural population, get them all to be stakeholders in this and let it be driven by a special purpose. This Bharat Badal is gone in the next 5-year plan, thanks to somebody in DIT whom I sent this concern. But I think we can't wait for 5 years, we need this extended. Okay. So if it goes in the 5-year plan, it will get planned and then it will come in the next 5-year plan and then get implemented after 5 years after that. I think by then we would have lost one whole decade of opportunity. Okay. It could be a private-public partnership. I was talking to Mr. Subramanian outside, who was a very senior advisor to the government on IT. And he said, Subramanian, call it private-public partnership, so I have to change it. He says the citizens should push this partnership with the government, not the other way around. Because the citizens should say now, let us be a private-public partnership. Okay? Then you migrate all government public computing applications into Bharat, central and state government. Immediate saving billions of rupees. All data centers shut down, UPS, all those applications which so many states, each state government I think has about 24 departments. It's patterned on the same irrespective of the state. Each department has got 10 data centers for their projects. So now you can do the maths yourself. So each state has got 240 data centers multiplied by 26 states, and you know what is the investment and what is the OPEX for that. All of that can come into Bharat. Same way central government also has got another 40 ministries, Each one of them runs their own data center. By bringing everything to Bharat Badal, you actually protect, you secure the nation also. Why? Because you only have this Badal to secure, right? You don't have those n number of data centers to secure. So there are a lot of other benefits which you can think through. This is just a knowledge paper. And then finally, new applications for rural India can come out like your Pani Puri, Batata Vada, whatever it is. You can just keep doling out because we have a huge trained manpower on IT skills in this country. So I think making applications is a no-brainer. Any language, whatever the process is. Okay. So I stopped at pitch much earlier in time and left 10 minutes for questions and answers. I'll be happy to answer. Yes.
Hi, thanks for the wonderful presentation. I agree with you what you just mentioned, right? And what you were talking about is the sort of a vision what government should do. But do you think will it happen? Because state data centers, if you look at, we are yet to see a success of state data center initiatives. Infrastructure is there, but there are no applications to run, right? And by the time applications will come, you have to overhaul the infrastructure.
I think one of the problems with the Indian government and state governments is don't advertise. Unlike the private sector which keeps on coming to these awards and stuff. Jammu and Kashmir runs all his IT infrastructure on Madhya Pradesh. Are you aware of that? That's happening for 3 years. Okay? So these things are happening. The government is doing. We have to look at the successes. Why want to look at the failures? The whole ESI system runs on a cloud, outsourced to Wipro. That means if you are an employee state insurance user, you can go to any ESI outlet and get treated, which was not possible about 5 years back. So these small things happen. NABARD has put the cloud for rural banking. Citi is looking at using the cloud for the SME. So these agencies are working on it. You will see the results happening. Simply because this is an OPEX model, okay, and it's a transactional model. So once the government builds infrastructure, everybody can use it. Government is doing. The Information Commission, they are working on it. Aadhaar is one huge project. But to get 1.2 billion people in is a challenge. But it is happening. I got my Aadhaar card. My whole family has got the Aadhaar card. The system works. Why did I go and do it? I think if we don't support as the educated part the government initiatives, why would the rural guys even think of it? So I would not agree with you on that. Please look up and I'm happy to give you more examples where the cloud is used by the government.
Sure, thanks. I agree with you. Will it be correct to say that it is becoming more of a state phenomenon than India as a country? Because some states are taking a lead while some are laggards. So it is becoming more of a state phenomenon than anything else.
Yeah, that depends on the leadership in the state. Every 5 years you elect them. So Karnataka, the policeman will book you on the BlackBerry and freeze your license online. Maybe in Mumbai, it's a different thing. He'll want to see my license. He sees my Karnataka license and lets me know. So it's different in different states. But that again is the governance issue because that's how our federation is made. I can't comment on that. But the key issue is the government has made that central bin to do. Then each state can do what they want on that. Today that doesn't exist. So the laggard states which you're talking, which are about 12 of them, I have nothing much to say for them. If you start this Bharat, immediately, I mean we're talking about months, not even years. Okay. In months, the e-governance is being placed, whatever vision the Chief Minister has, along with his Chief Secretary and his bureaucrats will happen. The point is, you have to create the infrastructure first. And many of the other states, like for example, why is Jammu and Kashmir in Madhya Pradesh? Jammu and Kashmir cannot build data centers, they are in a sea-speed zone. So there is no way they are going to build it. So they are hosting it elsewhere. Okay. So these are some things which are happening in this model.
Thanks for the presentation. So as for BBNL project, which you highlighted in your presentation, CDOT has been a consultant. So here's for Bharat, the Badal Cloud project. Who is the consulting authority from government and what is the state of this?
Sir, I'm a citizen like you, I have nothing to do with the government. It's just a thought leadership exercise.
Okay.
So this is a concept I felt could change the country and I've been talking about it.
This is still at the concept also.
I don't think so, because in the next 5-year plan, I don't know what has gone there, I'm not telling. It will come. There's no choice for India. If you want to get 1.2 billion online on a citizen government interface, you will need a cloud for it.
But I feel strongly they will have to leverage that infrastructure which SDC has been already put up or going because that will really expedite the.
Yeah, actually you are right. Actually, the funny thing is the Department of Information Technology has enough data centers. They have all the computing equipment. All they have to do is to build the cloud company. So really the challenge is about 3 months of effort and leadership to make the Bharat Padar phase 1 to happen. Then you can keep on incrementing and keep adding servers, whatever you want on the cloud. But at least the first step is to build the cloud. So you're right, the infrastructure is there. I think once the government takes note and then moves to the next step, it will happen. And I'm sure the government will go there irrespective of me and me talking to you. Because simply government has to deliver to citizen at the lowest cost. And everybody knows cloud reduces the cost of transaction by 17% minimum for any of these bulk transactions. Okay? And anybody wants to look at what the US government has done. All the numbers are there, just like Indian government, they put it up on their website. So you can go and check it out.
Yes, thank you.
Sir. Sir. Okay, so you said around 500,000 Gram Panchayats already connected to broadband. Do we have any numbers or any understanding how many of them are really using it?
That is the problem. You can have the broadband, but you have nothing on it.
Yes.
That is where Bharat Padar helps, right? So now you have information, everything amalgamated there.
Okay.
So just having a road without a car, that was a case before Bharati came here, right? We had a lot of roads but no cars. I remember we had to wait 10 years for my Vespa scooter. I had to wait 15 years for Maruti car. I mean the old premier Fiat car. Right? So those days are all gone. Right? So I think the important thing is to build the road first, then the cars should come. So if you build the Bharat Padar and you have already the network, applications will come. We are all intelligent and innovative citizens today. Lots will come. And it's left to each citizen's imagination, each Gram Panchayat's imagination what they want. Like the Stellabs I talked about you, is being a roaring business now. Because suddenly organic milking and this is being replicated elsewhere in the world. Because it's on the cloud. Right? So it's very easy for him to give it to Europe or somebody else also who wants to do organic farming. In terms of milk. It's a very funny situation, but they're making money out of it. So I don't know what it is. For each of you to imagine what you can do with the cloud. I'm not there.
Alright, thank you.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Raj. I work for Julian Telecom. You mentioned about, Bharat Padar for the rural area. Basically, our company also, MD also has the focus. The company and the MD has the focus to go to rural areas. And the two projects that you mentioned.
No, the whole concept is to take computing to rural areas. To use computing to deliver to the rural areas. See, today what happens in the rural area? What can he do? He or she in the rural area. You can do farming. You can do sheep grazing. Or do nothing because the government gives you a load of 100 rupees. 100 rupees is not really aspects. How do you leapfrog economic progress? Use technology. So once you have the technology delivery, it is infinite what you can do. Right?
Actually, my point is actually the two projects that you mentioned, about the Aadhaar and NABARD. In both ways, we will actually contributing by deploying for the NABARD projects. And the Aadhaar is actually watching that now.
No, NABARD solution is for the rural banks to use computing.
Right.
And affordable.
My question was basically, when we talk about the computing part, the cloud part, the other part, where in the cities also in the main, the customer, the end customer is in the apprehensive of going for personal transaction. How quickly you think the mindsets can change for the rural area?
Okay, I'll give you a good example. There was a Panwala in Rajkot. Okay, this is again, you can Google it. But the Panwala in Rajkot did some Googling. He learned how to use Google. Okay. Then he landed up in the government schemes for his village. Right? Then, because of RTI, all that had to be put up. Who all got the money? He realized all the rich guys had got the money in the village, which was not even rich. So he put an RTI application. Out of it came a scam. This is the power of information. Okay? And this guy is a guy next Pan himself, who got fascinated by Google, started searching for his village location and all documents connected to that place. And this was the outcome. Okay, so this Twitter, Facebook, this transparency is hurting governments right across the world. Okay, and it is a two-edged sword. And it can be used and misused also. Okay. So these are issues the government will have to figure out. I am talking more of development issues. But this is the power of the computing, giving an ordinary citizen the power of the accessing the computer. Because he thinks laterally, he doesn't think like you. And this is one outcome which was well documented. And there are hundreds of things that had happened. So the point remains is, giving that, see today what is a device to get to the Google? 5,000 rupees? basic Android tablet, I see it every day in Times of India, right? And connectivity, and then you're on, right? It's as simple as that. Okay? So I think the important thing is to empower them first, the rest of it will follow.
I can see that.
Yeah, I'm done. Sorry, I'm very passionate about this. I'll stop.
You can take it offline. Sir is going to be here, so throughout the day session, please. Thank you, sir, for this presentation.